Hello and welcome to my Diablo 3 Barbarian Whirlrend Speedfarming guide. In this guide I will show you how to become the ultimate Beyblade bounty or speed rift farmer out there. This is a build that is viable for Torment 16 bounty farming, rifts, gem leveling in greater rifts and more. So when you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax and enjoy. This is a speed farming build you can get set up quite easily. The main requirements for this build will be the 5 or 6 piece of the waist set and a Bolcato's weapon set. In your cube you'd want to have the Ambo's Pride weapon, the Lamentation belt, and a Skull Grasp or Ring of Royal Grandeur if you have a 5 piece of the waist set. If you have 6 pieces you do not require this ring, and instead you can use a Skull Grasp ring to get that extra whirlwind damage. Here's a list of all the items you'll need if you're going to go for the full build off-season, or if you're on-season you might want to swap around some items in your cube to get more out of this build, but generally speaking, this will be the main build. You'll be using the Bolcato's weapon set to have Infinite Fury. You'll be using the Of the Waist set to increase the damage of Rend and its duration. This set will also further increase the damage of Rend and Whirlwind will also get the effect of the Dust Devil rune. And even better, you'll be automatically applying Rend. Now as for your belt, you want to be using the gold wrap in combination with a boon of the hoarder, because this way if you're doing regular rifts and bounties you will basically be invincible if you spin all around the area and pick up the gold. You'll be using the Nemesis braces to spawn extra elites so they can farm more death breath, and in greater rifts this is also useful if you want to clear the rift quicker to level up your gems. As for the ring, I'm using a convention of the elements because I do not have a properly good rolled obsidian ring of the zodiac or compass rose and traveler's pledge. You want to be using these if you have those with good rolls however. As for your gems, of course you want to be using Bane of the Trapped, Boon of the Hoarder and Teguk. These will make you deal more damage and be more tanky. If you're doing greater rifts, you want to swap the Boon of the Hoarder gem with a Bane of the Stricken gem for extra damage against Rift Guardians. And the Band of the Might ring is incredibly important if you're doing greater rifts because it decreases the damage you take when you use Furious Charge. As for your skills, you want to have Furious Charge, Merciless Assault, Whirlwind Hurricane so you can suck in enemies, Sprint Marathon, Battle Rage Bloodshed, Rend Bloodbath, you won't be using this because it will auto-cast, and Wrath of the Berserker Insanity for elites for extra crit chance, attack speed, etc. As for your passives, you want to have Boon of the Bolcato's, Ruthless, Weapons Master, and Rampage. I only have Nerves of Steel to have a second chance whenever I get killed, because I have the Hellfire Amulet giving me the Bolcato's passive. As for your Paragon, focus on movement speed, maximum fury, then strength, critical hit chance and damage, then cooldown reduction and attack speed. Then for defense, resist all and then just choose whatever you want really. And as for utility, simply do resource cost reduction, and for the rest it doesn't really matter that much. Now there is a tankier version of this build out there for grift pushing, but this is a build focused around bounty farming, death breath farming and gem leveling up to level 75, or 70ish. For bounties, this build on Torment 16 does just fine because it's literally invincible as soon as you pick up some gold. You want to spin around and keep that armor buff going though, because you might end up getting yourself killed if you don't watch out and don't pick up gold, but that rarely happens. It's an extremely fast and fun build. You can just hold down right click, it's almost brainless, and just spin around like a Beyblade and kill everything off. You don't even really need Furious Charge for the bounties because the gold literally makes you invincible like I said previously. Very fun, very cool for farming. Now when doing bounties in 4-man, you may or may not just get caught out in the open and get attacked from a distance, and you might die, but that won't really happen that often, because as soon as you kill one enemy, you pick up the gold, you can just keep on spinning around. Just keep an eye on the gold, and keep moving around the gold, because you may or may not miss some, and the buff might go away, and then you're a lot weaker than you were before. As for Torment 16 rifts, literally the same thing. You just spin for everything and you can just see all the gold popping and dropping on the floor. It's a lot of fun. In fact, this is the first build I set up after returning apart from my Hydro Wizard during the season. I came a little late into season 20, so I sadly missed most of the season. But now off season I can try a bit just until season 21 arrives, which I think is tomorrow. But yeah. And you can see on screen, even if there's elites that drop down acid and stuff like that, you're pretty much invincible again because of that gold, so you can just spin through it like it's nothing, and then just move on to the next pack. And Rift Guardians, also Torment 16, absolutely no problem. You kill them in a few seconds, not very challenging at all. The Of the Waste set is extremely powerful, and you can even, just with this build, probably push 80, 85 plus, but you will get one shot because the monsters in the Greater Rifts do not drop gold with the Boon of the Hoarder gem. Now for that reason, that's why you want to have the diamonds in your gear, because then you have more resist all and you're more tough inside Greater Rifts, where your Boon of the Hoarder and your gold drop cannot save you. In fact, you could even switch to a different belt because it's not even useful inside Greater Rifts. And also the reason you want to use a Bane of the Stricken over the Boon of the Hoarder gem for the extra damage against the Rift Guardians. Also, a thing to note, Fury's Charge is incredibly important to spam into large groups of enemies during the Greater Rift, because that's where your toughness will come from. If you do not do this, you will get popped like a balloon, because the mobs will just stack up onto you and kill you. So keep that in mind. That's why it's on my left click, so you can easily click on monsters, and it also helps for a little extra mobility. Now, even though this build is not even maxed out at all, I don't have primals, I haven't augmented stuff yet, it can still do 2 to 3 minute Greater F75s, and if that sounds good enough to you for farming, then you can go ahead and try and use this build. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing. And if you're looking to get back into Diablo 3, be sure to check out my beginner's guide, linked in the description below. Peace.